Ask Reddit. Parents of Reddit, what is the weirdest internet search history you've discovered your child searching? My kid is 11 months. I caught her looking up pounds and but Google gives me nothing. It must be some new code the kids are using. If anyone knows what it means, I'd appreciate the help. My friend searched for hot and dirty African slaves after having touched on the slave trade in school. He was searching for it in completely innocent terms, as in those that worked on plantations worked in the hot sun in the dirt, but his mom took it as something sexual and banned him from the internet for a month. I'm about to be a father, and this is the first time that it has dawned on me that my kid will have access to the internet. Oh lord. While I'm not a parent, I once helped a family set up their home computer network, and in the course of doing so, I ran into a patently bizarre sort of family feud. At the time of this story, I was casually acquainted with a young woman who had, via a process of not so subtle suggestion and outright pleading, convinced her aunt, Ellen, we'll call her, to finally get her children, ages 10 and 12, their own personal computers. Why this was such a powerful obsession for my friend is still unknown to me, but I agreed with the sentiment. After all, these kids had been limited to using the family computer for the majority of their lives, which had made school projects and socialization alike into somewhat difficult tasks. After having finally been convinced, Aunt Ellen bought each of her children a desktop computer. Then, to further cement her household's position in the information age, she switched from the bottom rung DSL connection they'd been using and upgraded to a respectably fast cable service. The inclusion of television channels and a home phone line may have helped her with that decision. However, she discovered with some dismay that setting up her network was a bit of a daunting challenge. That's where I came in. At first, this seemed like it would be a simple endeavor. I'd just set up a router, install a couple of wireless NICs, and be done with it. However, Aunt Ellen had a few special requests. The most important thing, she told me, is an internet password. I nodded my understanding, though I wasn't completely sure what she wanted. Do you mean a Wi-Fi password? I asked. Something to protect your wireless network? Oh, yes, certainly that, replied Aunt Ellen. But I also want to keep my kids off the internet, if it's past at a time. That's when all the creeps come out. Well, that was fine. I had some private thoughts on the matter, but I wasn't there to offer parenting advice or play internet educator. I set up the network, put the necessary conditions in place on the router, and moved on. Okay, great, Aunt Ellen said, visibly pleased. Next, put passwords on each of the new computers. She didn't immediately offer an explanation for this, but my assumption was that it was to keep her son, the 10-year-old, from snooping on his sister's machine, and vice versa. Do you want to have your kids set up their own passwords? I asked. Aunt Ellen's answer was accompanied by a look of shock. Oh, no, only my husband and I will know them. I don't want my kids on the computer without permission. Again, this seemed counterproductive to me, but I held my tongue and did her bidding. With everything complete, my final task was to reconnect the family computer to the network and go on my merry way. I didn't know it at the time, but my job was only halfway finished. The following day, I received a phone call from my friend. Her Aunt Ellen, it seemed, was having some unspecified difficulties with the new network setup, and she wanted to know if I could stop by to help with them. I was wary of becoming the family's personal ed technician, but the fear that I'd done something wrong brought me back to their house. Upon arrival, Aunt Ellen explained to me that her husband had been unable to check his email the night before. I know you did your best, she said, but do you think maybe something went wrong? Well, I can certainly find out, I replied. Do you know if he used the right password? Remember, if it's after 7, you need to enter it first. Aunt Ellen smiled and nodded. Oh, yes, definitely. I even tried it myself. I was skeptical, but I gave her the benefit of the doubt and pulled up the router's configuration page. Everything seemed to be in order, except for an extra entry that I'd never seen before. It specifically locked a handful of URLs, each of them clearly pornographic in nature, and had the curious label of NOFACEBOOK equals NOPORN. I need to check something, I told Aunt Ellen. Do you mind if I look at? I thought for a brief moment before continuing. May I look at your daughter's computer? We went up to the girl's room and had a look at the computer in question. After Aunt Ellen made me avert my gaze while she entered the necessary password, lo and behold, somebody had created a second administrator account and their browser history showed that it had been used the night before to access the router. Suddenly, it dawned on me I'd never changed the router's default password, and Aunt Ellen's sweet, innocent, 12-year-old daughter had taken it upon herself to passive-aggressively block her father's access to his pornography. It was, to say the least, an awkward predicament. Fortunately, I managed to resolve the situation while leaving everyone's pride intact, although it took a lot more finesse than I had expected the task to require. In the end, the father's browsing capabilities were restored, the router's password was changed, and nobody, save perhaps the 12-year-old, was any wiser. And even though I undid her work, I left the bent paperclip that I saw beside the girl's keyboard. My 5-year-old hates Steph Curry for some reason. My wife allows the kids to use her iPad, and after she got it back from our son, she saw that he had searched 1. Steph Curry home. 2. Cut off legs. 3. Cut off a person's legs. 4. Steph Curry legs. 5. Band-aids for legs cut off. He later revealed that he wanted to cut off Steph Curry's legs in order to prevent him from playing in the finals. How to get a six-pack for kids. Oh, and how to get away with murderer. My son is 8. After a serious chat I uncovered that he meant how to get away from a murderer. Need to sleep with one eye open just in case. My 5-year-old son googled how to kiss a girl. Thought that was cute. Didn't know he was a Mike Tyson fan. As the kid I accidentally left open a couple of porn tabs on my laptop that my mom had access to. Both times it was pictures of topless celebs. My mom gave me relentless shit for it every time we would see one of them in a movie or something. Luckily my mom was cool as shit, otherwise I'd be 100 times as embarrassed as I'm now all these years later. My niece was maybe 4 years old and her internet was password protected by my brother. He checked up to see what she had been doing online and saw she had googled, "What is my daddy's password? Why do my mommy and daddy only wrestle in B?" Not a parent, not my kid. My friend came over with his very sheltered and Catholic 10-year-old hellspawn. The kid threw tantrums, screamed, and ran amok. Well, while I was playing Xbox, PC can't do local multiplayer with my pal, looking at the shit 30 FPS compared to my sweet, buttery 60 FPS, the hellspawn used my PC. Not only did he break the enter key, got a replacement, but this was the search history. What is porn? Do turtles have penises? TMNT porn. You can imagine my surprise. My friend's 11-year-old daughter searched daughter porn. When questioned she said she was curious about sex and was trying to find porn with people her age in it. My 8-year-old recently discovered the OK Google feature on my phone. Every search opens a new window on my phone, so I can see much of his search history nearly instantaneously. Some have been: show me the strongest man in the world. What does the strongest man in the world drive? What is the fastest car in the world? Jake Murray. What is the best playground in the world? My daughter is 8 and she is very polite with her Google searches. I found "please show me pictures of puppies," "please show me pictures of the weirdest cat," "please show me cat pictures," and, oddly, John Cena memes. When I was first discovering that there was porn on the internet, my family had an Emma-Chin Shudder in the living room. It was set up in such a way that the computer was behind and apart from our TV, so you could browse in relative privacy. I found some website full of girls in bikinis, not even any nudity, and looked through it in fascination while my dad watched football. Then I had a panic attack and deleted my history of browsing that site, then panicked even more and told my dad that I went to a site and this other site popped up full of bikini girls and shut it down. So he came and checked my history and couldn't find any evidence of it. He wasn't an idiot. I'm sure he knew what I did, but he let it slide. My son was acting a bit weird, so I decided to look through his search history. Lots of searches along the lines of what's kissing like, what's sex like, how to get girls to notice you, At that point I knew I had to have a talk with him. I sat him down and slapped him on the head and said, "Goddamn it, you're 27 years old. Just go to a bar and get drunk or something." Not a parent, nor the person searching was my child, but there's no sight of my answer ever going in any thread, so my cousin was in my house and using the PC. Back then, he didn't have internet, and he came to my house to use it. Anyways, after he left I opened the historial out of pure curiosity. I know, I'm a dick, and saw him googling about premature ejaculation. It really put things into perspective. He was always this big, manly guy, but even him had problems. He is 6 and just learning about spelling and writing. But I looked at his iPad the other day, and in the YouTube search bar I saw, "I will try to recreate the spelling. Legos Batman Joker Fight Megid Mamevlo Pocket." I think the first part is Lego Batman Joker Fight. The Megid may be a Megalodon, because he did come out not too long ago telling me a lot of Megalodons. I have no idea on the rest. I asked and he said he got frustrated and gave up, then went into this whole rampage about how he shouldn't have to learn to write and spell or grow up and get a job because it would be hard work and he is just too little for all this responsibility. I won't be shocked if I find him looking for YouTube videos about how to never grow up next. Not a parent, but I was the child searching weird videos. I used to get my dad's work laptop when he wasn't home and watch neck fetish videos with people being blindfolded and others rubbing their neck and moaning. I was around 8 to 10 at the time. Not my child, but on my wife's computer I found a search for slave porn. Not BDSM stuff, but American history pre-Civil War stuff where people reenact an owner and a slave having sex. My child's searches are a lot more vanilla, mainly how to craft Barbie food and the like.